In this lesson, I'm going to show you how chords are created. And we're going to start with the most basic form of a chord, the triad. Now, I'm going to stick to the key of A, and I'm going to relate it to the bluesy sound of 7 chords. Because we all love blues, right? And that's a good place to start. So let's play the A mixolydian mode. Now, you may not know this mode, but that's okay. You'll recognize the sound of it. That's the mode that fits 7th chords. So it's called either the dominant scale or the mixolydian mode. Now what we're going to do is to give each note a number. And you can view that as scale degrees or intervals. So if we start on the first one, A, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and those are all the notes in the scale. Then it starts over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're back to root note again, 8 or 1, the note A. So in order to create the simplest form of a chord, the major triad, in this case, because this mode has a major third, that's why it's going to be a major triad. So we pick out the first, the third, and the fifth. If we do that, we have 1, we're skipping the second and go to the third, we're skipping the fourth and going to the fifth. So we have 1, 3, 5. That is a major triad. One way to play it. It's not really a good way, but for illustration purposes, hopefully it helps to see that on the fretboard. So that's how we create a major triad. And I also want you to see how it is actually 2/3 that are stacked on top of each other. So what I mean by that is if we continue from the first note and look at from here to here, we can play open A as well to here. And then we have the third here. So we skip in the second and go to the third directly. 1, 3. That's what's referred to as a third if you play them together. Now, if we look at this note, the third, if we play a third from there, if we follow the scale, it's going to be, we're going to skip that one, the fourth, and go to the fifth, which is here. We could also look at it this way, right? 3 and 5. Now, the distance between these two is different than the first, right? 1, 3. You can view it as there's 2 whole steps. There's 1 fret that we're not using in between, right? But from here to here, from the major third to the fifth, it's what's called a minor third. Now, I hope this doesn't confuse you, but you just have to think about, we're skipping 1 note in between, so it's going to be the distance of a third anyway. Like if this was the 1, this would be the second, and this would be the third. But we have to stick to the formula of the scale. Then it ends up being that 1, 3, 5. Okay? And we can play this in many ways. That's the one I started with, which is an awkward way to play it. But the cool thing with chords and triads in this case is we can rearrange the order of these notes. We don't have to play 1, 3, 5 every time. We can play 3, 5, 1. Now we have what's called a new voicing. This is also an A major triad, 3, 5, 1. It's just that we have rearranged these notes and these numbers. So the 1 is on top and the lowest note is the third. 3, 5, 1. We can do it one more time, starting here. 5, 1, 3. Then we have this one. I'm just barring with my index finger. Right? And we can continue that. We can find these triads all over the fretboard. I mean, take for example this bar chord that a lot of us know. There's only 3 notes in there really, right? We have 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. So I can play those notes in any combination. I can play or I can add a 4th note. I'm now doubling up the root note twice. And I add the triad on the thinner strings too. So that's the most simple form of a chord. A major triad. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. Now, I also recommend that you memorize the note names as you're doing that, as well as the intervals or the scale degrees. So we have A, C sharp, E, and then it continues. A, C sharp, E, A, C sharp, E, and so on. Because one important thing with this concept is that it's not only for playing chords and strumming. As you probably know, chord tones are a key ingredient in playing lead guitar so that it sounds like you're really fitting in with the chords. And the chord tones are simply, at its most basic form, it's the intervals from the chord or the scale degrees, 1, 3, 5. Now, if a chord is more advanced and has, a 9 or 11 or 13, those are still going to be chord tones. So being able to find these chord tones all over the neck is extremely powerful, both for comping and playing rhythm guitar, as well as playing lead guitar. So this is a great concept for you to study closely, to get really comfortable with finding different inversions, different grips and voicings for these chords, starting with the basic triad, and then we're going to extend these with 7th chords and chord extensions beyond that. But hopefully this will get you started.